What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Spider, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway, it's kind of complicated, Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game, published by Fantasy Flight Games. This specific expansion is designed by Michael Boggs and MJ Newman. I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who's going to tell you more about the game itself.
So this is an expansion for a cooperative game intended for 1 to 4 players, plays in 60 to 90 minutes, higher player counts, and is intended for ages 14 and above.
So what will you be doing when you take on the role of Spider? Well, you become Peni Parker, who is the pilot of the Spider suit inherited from her dad. I don't know a ton about this character. I've seen her only once, I think, in Into the Spider-Verse. Never read the comics. She is bonded telepathically to a host spider that will help you command the Spider suit. What you're going to be doing is trying to get your different interface cards into play, as those will be upgrades for the suit. Now, you can only have a very limited hand size. Don't worry about it. The suit and the different upgrades that you get into play will let you do a lot more stuff, but you're really trying to build, that suit out, kind of like Iron Man if you played the game before, or Ironheart, in order to make sure that your character is very effective. You also have some nice strong attacks that will stun and confuse enemies, which is always a good time. I think I've talked enough about the pack.
I think so.
All right, we're now going to grab our drink. Grab our best friend and fellow web warrior.
Okay, take it to the table one more time.
One more time. And just disclaimer here before I forget, we are playing 2 characters at once, so you will see 2 characters set up. We're playing as Spider and Spider-Ham, so just revealing a little bit behind the curtains. We are doing these reviews at the same time, even though they're going to be released on separate weeks. So on that note, let's go, Sandman. We're taking you down. Now we're going to take a look at the components for the Spider Hero Pack for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. This is the Spider suit. It's got some funky stuff in there for the eye, but I think I'm doing an okay job of it. So we get some background on Peni Parker. We also get some rules for the setup, explanations of some of the keywords you may not already know, as well as then just an explanation as to how this character plays. So let's take a look at the cards. So we got the Spider suit, sync ratio, resource, exhaust, and interface upgrade you control to generate that upgrade's resources. So there's 2 ways that it works. Inactive tech, permanent, discard printed text box, cannot be treated as if it were blank. So return to base, forced interrupt. When you flip to this side, flip Spider to Peni Parker, detach Peni Parker from here, moving all counters on her and her cards attached to this other card. So it's like her getting out of the suit. So we got Peni Parker in her alter ego form. She's got psychogenetic compatibility set up, put the Spider suit into play, and active side face up. Alter ego action, she can draw 2 cards. But that means exhausting the Spider suit. So upgrade, permanent, this card's printed text box cannot be treated as if it were blank. Suit up, force interrupt. When you flip to this side, flip Spider suit to its active side, attach this card to the Spider suit, moving all counters on this card or cards attached to this card to the Spider suit. So that's going to take a little getting used to. We've got Venom. So as an ally, 1 toward 1 attack. Venom gets 1 toward plus 1 attack for each sim counter honor. After Venom enters into play, place 1 sim counter honor for each resource generated by Spider's sync ratio ability to pay for her. All systems go. Ready each interface upgrade you control. You get to choose, or you can search your deck and discard pile for any interface upgrade and add it to your hand. Rapid deployment. Thwart, you remove 3 threat from a scheme. If you paid for this card using a resource generated by the suit, you get to remove 3 threat from a scheme. That's pretty cool. Web Trap, deal 5 damage to an enemy. If paid for this card using Spider sync ratio ability, you get to stun the enemy. Aunt May and Uncle Ben, exhaust Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Top 3 cards instead if you're in alter ego form, and then add each Spider card discarded that way to your hand. Ejection Protocol. Discard ejection protocol, exhaust each interface upgrade you control, set your hit model to 6, give your identity a tough status card, and flip to alter ego form, so just like a forced eject, but you get a tough status card. Exhaust spider command and interface upgrade cards, draw a card, and you can exhaust spider command and choose to discard 1 card from your hand, ready an interface or upgrades. Not sure how that actually works. Exhaust host spider to ready the spider suit. When Spider Suit makes a basic thwart, exhaust Psychic Link that gets +2 thwart. Hero and jump on the Spider Suit defends against an attack, exhaust Speed Metal Eye to get +2 defense. Then when the Spider Suit makes a basic attack, it exhausts a Web Fluid Compressor, gets +2 attack. So some pretty cool stuff in there, but I'm not quite sure how that all works. I definitely think it's going to be one of those types of heroes that I gotta play to understand it. So we got a different version of Daredevil here. After he defends against an attack, move 1 damage from him to an attacking enemy. That's pretty cool. Spider-Man Noir. X is equal to the number of face-down cards attached to Spider-Man Noir. After you resolve a Treachery card, if you control another Web Warrior card, you get to attach the Treachery face-down here up to 3. Repurpose. Discard a tech upgrade card you control to ready your hero. And choose thwart, attack, or defense until the end of the round. Here gets +X, where X is equal to the upgrade's printed cost. That's pretty cool. Thwip, love that. Deal 1 damage to a Web Warrior character you control. Place a total of 2 stun status cards on up to 2 enemies. Energy Barrier, when you would take any amount of damage, remove 1 reflection counter to prevent 1 of that damage and bounce it back to the enemy. Force Field Generator, when you would take any amount of damage, remove that many energy counters from here. For each counter removed, you get to not take a damage. So, Spider Tingle, when you reveal an encounter card, deal 1 damage to a Web Warrior. That card is a Treachery card, cancelled when revealed. Effect. Spider Tingle is pretty cool. I would like to see it as maybe like a multi-class card so that every Spider Warrior could have it, but multi-class, multi-aspect, sorry. Let's take a look at the basic aspect cards. So we've got Spider-Ham. Only Web Warriors can play with him. After he thwarts, discard the top card of each encounter deck. Top card of the encounter deck for each boost icon discarded this way. You deal 1 damage to Spider-Ham. That's why he's got 3 health. We've got Superior Spider-Man Otto Octavius. After you play Spider-Man from your hand, ready an upgrade you control. If that upgrade has tech trait, draw a card. Limitless Stamina. Play only if your identity has at least 14 printed hit points. You get to ready your hero. Then Condition Superpower. You need 14 hit points. Your identity gains Steady. Steady characters require 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. So here we then have the Inherited Burden. May flip to alter ego form to exhaust. If you exhaust Peni Parker, you get to remove it from the game, or you can choose and discard 1 interface upgrade you control and discard the obligation. Giant Monster Attack is the scheme. We've got Morbius as a vampiric monster, a creature. Energy Drain has his 2 cards. And then these are the cards that get added into the game. So we've got a Clarity of Purpose, attach to a friendly character, exhaust this card and deal 1 damage to the attached character to generate a wild resource. Then we have Grand Larceny from Iron Spider Sinister 6. We got Bombshell, Electro, Hobgoblin, Iron Spider, Sandman, Spot, and then Surgeon Cramp. So this is another Sinister 6 that you can add into the game. So pretty cool stuff. Really like everything that we see here. Curious as how I'm going to like Spider. Definitely happy to have them right now because I haven't played it yet. Just filming the components. We're going to be getting this to the table very soon. And after this section of the video, Julie and I will be coming back at you with our review of this expansion. So Julie, what did you think of the Spider expansion pack for Marvel Champions, the card game?
So this is another Marvel Champions that when you gave it to me, I kind of went, okay, because you've got the spider suit and the pilot, and then basically the idea is you have to have basically you're pulling 3 or 4 cards, and it's like, this is not gonna work. But once you get a hang of how the components, I guess, what were they called?
Yeah, they're the interface tech and all the different things that you can equip your spider suit with.
Once you get the hang of it, it's quite fun, and there's a lot you can do depending on the cards you can pull. And luckily for me, I got some key cards towards the end once I got once I got the machine working, because that's really what it is.
It does feel like you're building your engine, actually. So if you like engine building games, you would probably like this hero.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely not quick. And again, it depends on the luck of the draw and the cards that you pick. So I can see being really unlucky and not pulling any of the interface cards that you need. But until you do, you're really not very efficient. But once you do, you are very efficient, and you can do a lot. And it was a lot of fun the last, I would say 4 or 5 rounds.
Do this.
I was able to reset and do multiple chaining of cards. So that was a lot of fun. So I definitely had fun. I don't know if she'd be effective against every type of villain. But she well, actually the 2 different villains we played with her.
She was very effective. She was probably the most effective out of the 2 characters that were playing for these games. And we played against the Sinister Six recently, and we played against Sandman.
Yeah. So I thought she was, and against the Sinister Six, she was pretty good because she
was the one that held down the fort, because things just were not going Spider-Ham's way, which we'll talk about when we get to that review.
So yeah, again, I think you said it best. It's really like engine building. So if you enjoy that, you'll like it. You have to have a certain amount of skill to play this. I wouldn't say a novice would play this, unless you disagree.
Well, no, I wouldn't say a novice, but it's not going to take you a lot of experience to be able to play Spider, but you have to be someone that likes games. Like, I'll agree with Julie. Like, if you play a lot of games, you've played Marvel Champions a couple times, you can jump into Spider. If this is going to be your first game of Marvel Champions, Spider is just going to be like way over your head. You definitely need to have a couple games under your belt first.
I'd say more than a couple. I think you have to have played quite a few other champions to really get the hang of this, to be able to play her properly.
Yes, but if you know engine building and you figure out how to build the engine, it's going to work no matter what.
Yeah. So she's fun. She's a lot of fun. I can definitely see how she could be frustrating, though, if the cards are not going in your favor and you're really not picking any of those interface cards. We'll talk about Spider-Ham the next time. Honestly, I would definitely say if you're looking for a new champion to add to your collection, I would recommend her. I think she's a lot of fun, especially, as we've said many times now, if you like engine builders.
Yes, and I agree with Julie. I really wasn't sure what to think of Spider. I looked at the cards just like she did and was very confused. One of the things that I was able to do that you weren't able to do was to get the Venom ally into play. And wow, that was just one of the strongest allies I've ever had in the game. Luckily, I got some of the key cards a little earlier than you did. The primary one is the Host Spider. If you can get that out, it's really improves the flow of what you can do, because it means you can activate your suit twice. Also, what's really great about that is it can let you use your special ability of Peni to draw some extra cards that requires you to exhaust the suit. And this will let you still take an action on your turn. So if you can get Host Spider early on in the game, you're definitely going to get a better flow. You're going to be able to really start going to fish for some of these interface techs that you need. There are a couple of mitigating cards as well that will help you, like find tech and reattach tech that has been discarded. But as Julie says, you're still drawing a very small amount of cards, so you've got to be very careful and very specific in terms of what you're doing and your actions. One of the nice things is that a lot of your attacks, though, that you can do will either stun or confuse enemies, meaning that you can use those to buy yourself a little bit more time in order to pull some more cards from the deck. Especially if you're playing the game like solo, you could stun, you can confuse, and depending on the mode that you're in, you won't necessarily have to deal with a villain for an entire round besides the regular encounter cards, which is very good. And you use those cards very well, actually, during your play, stunning a bunch of the Sinister Six, and then during Sandman, I kind of kept him a couple times just not really doing all that much. And her all systems go card is a little bit ridiculous. It almost feels broken when you've got all of your different interface tech out and you're just like, I'm going to reset on my interface and restart and take another turn. I think I did that twice in the last turn of the game. You're kind of just sitting there like, when do I get to play? And that is the real downfall of Spider. Well, once Peni Parker's up and running, it can take very long for your turns because you can do a lot of stuff. Now, great to watch you beat down the villain, not necessarily great for other players at the table. And one thing I would say is if you do plan to play Marvel Champions with higher player counts, 3-4 players, I'm not sure I would ever use Spider in a 4-player game because those games are already long and she's just going to make the game even longer.
Okay.
But she's a character that I really did enjoy. Loved all the way that you can build up the character. And lots of really cool choices like the Spider command where you can, potentially like reset an interface or draw a card. Just really cool. And I also like the fact that you can generate resources from all of these different interfaces as well to play cards from your hand. So that's how it really works. Having that very small hand is the suit itself is your resource. So that's something that is very new and interesting to the game. I think I've talked enough about it though, but we're going to go on from there. We're going to give you our score of the Spider expansion pack. So Julie, you went first. What is your score for this one?
It's a 7.5 for me.
I almost want to give this one an 8, but I think just the length of the turns is something that is a negative for me because we're looking for faster playing games. We've seen people play Marvel Champions at higher player counts. We've played at higher player counts, but we deliberately set the health a little bit lower just to keep the game going as it was a game day, so we didn't want to play something else. So that was really cool. But she is a good character. And I shouldn't have said but there. Straight up, she's a good character. She's a great addition. And I think, especially if you're a fan of Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, anything that's got Spider in it in the Marvel Universe, this character is one that you're going to want to add to your collection for sure.
Okay, so on that note, it's time to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have new content for you.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're looking to see pictures of Julie and I playing as Spider or Spider-Ham, there'll be plenty already on those feeds. There'll be some coming out when we release this video as well. Also down there's a link to multizone.ca, so if you're looking to get some Marvel Champions expansions, the base game, any of the expansion set, you want to get a discount on it, click the link, you'll get 10% off. It's a great way to support the channel as a portion of that purchase is returned to us. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be our most recent release. In front of Julie, when it's available, it'll take you back to our review of Spider-Ham. Until then, it'll take you back to the Sinister Motives campaign expansion. And on that note, we're now going to
grab our drink,
grab our best friend.
We gotta keep playing games.
Keep playing games. We're definitely going to keep playing with Spider. I'm eager to see her take on different villains.